Hi guys, well today we're going to be taking a look at our first partner card for AMD Navi. So this here is from the ASUS Republic of Gamers and it is the Strix 5700 XT. So if you want to put the reference design to the side and opt for a reliable custom design with a trustworthy cooler, a decent factory overclock, perhaps this is worth a consideration. The 5700 XT arrives with what is known as the Max Contact Cooler, which has triple axial tech fans and a huge double heatsink. We also get a handful of features which separate this card from others, including dual BIOS, Fan Connect 2 and AuraSync compatibility. Now depending on where you are, this card may or may not be listed at the moment, but you can expect it for $900 in Australia, it is $504 in the UK, and we actually couldn't find it in the US, though you can expect it for around $500 or $600. So this won't be the cheapest 5700 XT. The Strix lineup never really sits at the base MSRP. You're going to have to go to another brand for that. But is it worth paying the extra for this model here? Well, let's jump in and find out. And before we get into our review, today's video is brought to you by Be Quiet and their ROG Slim CPU cooler. The ROG Slim is a high-performance heatsink designed for both Intel and AMD platforms with a TDP rating of 180 watt. And as its name suggests, the ROG Slim uses a compact design, making it possible to use in smaller configurations. It is also incredibly quiet with near silent operation. We actually reviewed this cooler in May and we gave it our premium award based on our experience with it. You can check out that review on the screen and find out more info at the link in the description. Okay, and here is Strix 5700 XT. Across the different generations of Strix cards, whether that is Nvidia or AMD, the design has hardly changed, just some subtle alterations. And like most graphics cards, the first thing that is immediately apparent is the cooler, which uses a triple fan configuration. ASUS has moved away from DirectCU, and this is called the Max Contact Cooler. We'll take a closer look at the finer details of this later on, along with the PCB and components. And so, externally we've got a black shroud. That is plastic, but it should still match up with other hardware in any system. Along the edges there are a series of RGB LEDs, which can be modified using the GPU Tweak 2 software. Those LEDs can take advantage of AuraSync, and so if you have other devices that use that technology, you can synchronize it. And for those wanting to avoid any RGB lighting, there is a button on the back side of the card to enable or disable. Make no mistake, this is one massive graphics card, and here are the actual dimensions just to give you a bit of an idea if it'll fit inside your case. And so for the length, Strix 5700 XT is just over 300mm. For the width, you're looking at 120mm, and then the height around 52mm. Now our Strix card has a factory overclock applied to it, but with this new generation, clock speeds behave in a slightly different way. There is no absolute value for base or boost clock. The range is defined by power limit. Temperatures and quality of silicon also play a role in the actual clock speed. And so with that said, ASUS state the highest range, which sees the GPU clock boost to 2035 MHz, and the memory clock operates at 1750 or 14,000 effective, which is untouched. And to tap into that factory overclock, you're going to need to install the GPU Tweak 2 software. Inside there, we've got the silent, gaming, and OC modes. This card also carries 8GB of GDDR6. There's also PCI Express 4.0 compliant, it is DirectX 12 ready, and it supports OpenGL 4.6. On the edge of the card, ROG has included a BIOS switch next to the LED button. This allows you to shift between quiet mode or performance mode. Quiet mode activates a less aggressive fan curve, which provides lower noise output, while performance alters the fan curve to be a bit more aggressive and have the card run cooler in-game. Now Strix 5700 XT will occupy 2 spaces on your case and 3 slots on your motherboard, so that is worth keeping in mind for any upgrade. And on this back panel we've got a selection of 4 video outs, and so we've got 3 DisplayPort 1.4s, those can give you up to 8K at 60, and we also have 1 HDMI 2.0 and that offers 4K at 60, and so the usual assortment of outputs for multi-screen use. Now the referenced AMD 5700 XT features an 8+6 pin connection for the power, and it requires a 500 watt power supply. But for our Strix it is necessary to have 8+8 pin connection from the PSU and a 600 watt unit, and so a little bit extra for the LEDs, additional cooling fans, overclock and the custom PCB design. And as we've seen with other ASUS cards, our 5700 XT also has the LEDs, red telling us if the cable isn't incorrectly. Now just flipping XT over, on the reverse there is a large metal backplate which not only protects the PCB but also arrives with the Aura RGB lighting for the ROG logo. You'll also notice some pockets of ventilation for those critical components, and it's also worth noting that we have the integrated brace which works with that backplate to reduce the tension on the PCB. Okay, well we've taken the cooler off the XT and here is the solution which ASUS are using. So this here is the Max Contact solution which uses a trio of Axial Tech cooling fans. Those fans will stop spinning under light usage, low load, so when you aren't in game. And those fans sit on top of this gigantic heatsink which has a huge base plate and a multitude of heat pipes. Now having that cooler detached also means that we can take a look at the PCB. So across the board we've got the inclusion of Super Alloy Power 2 components with a burly digital phase design. So we have premium caps, Dr. Moss power stages and alloy core chokes, offering more efficiency, better reliability and are less noisy compared to what you would get on the reference design. At the tail end of the card we've got two fan headers. These allow you to connect up any case fans which are in the same area as the card, and what this means is that if the card needs that extra cooling, those fans will kick in and spin faster. And the other thing to note is that our card also benefits from Auto Extreme, and so the construction is entirely automated, which means that everything is designed with the absolute precision. So the driving force behind our 5700 XT is the Navi 10 XT GPU. So that uses a 7nm process and is based on the brand new RDNA architecture. So this chip and the 8GB of GDDR6 means that the sweet spot is 1440p gaming. And next we're going to do some quick benchmarks with our Strix card just to give you guys a bit of an idea of what kind of performance you can expect. Okay, so it's about time that we checked out the performance in a range of games, and as I mentioned, 1440p is the chosen resolution as that is what this card is really designed for, and we'll use Ultra for the detail preset. Now in the full review on Vortez.net we're going to be taking a look at other games and comparing the Strix card to other previously reviewed cards, so head on over for that. And in the background throughout our benchmarks we'll have the GPU-Z running in the background just to record our max temperature, so that will appear at the end.
You're not fooling me, not fooling anyone. Got your head in a cloud, you're delusional. In the notion of all this emotional. Let's be sure, I'm begging you, looking for You're not fooling me, not fooling anyone. Got your head in a cloud, you're delusional. In the notion of all this emotional. Best be sure, I'll be there when you're looking for something
Okay, and if we just come out of our last game, we can check out those temperatures. and that is considerably less than the reference design. It is up to around 10 degrees different. Alrighty, well that is the Strix 5700 XT, currently listed as the fastest of its kind on the market. As a result of that, you're going to pay slightly more than other brands and models listed on retail websites. Now, the card itself does a great job at the resolution to which it is destined for, 1440p. Obviously, some of the games which are slightly more demanding, such as Assassin's Creed, Witcher 3, are going to tax the card a little bit more, but in general, this card does very well. The factory overclock only really affects the GPU clock speeds. The memory has actually been left at default, which is a bit of a shame. However, in our full review on Vortez.net, we're going to be pushing this card even further, doing a manual overclock to see what we can achieve, so be sure to check that out. Now, against the reference design, the cooler is where you're going to see the significant benefit. The max contact solution on this Strix card is fantastic. It takes off around 10 degrees, which is pretty impressive, especially considering that this card comes with a GPU factory overclock. And that cooler is also very quiet and has the different modes to alter the fan curves. It'll come as no surprise that this ROG card has all the trimmings. Strix is pretty much the gold standard when it comes to GPU production. The engineering is top class. We get all those extra features which you may or may not find important, but they are all there. We've got LED indicators for PCI Express, we've got the LED on and off switch, and of course the fan RGB header combo at the end of the card for syncing up to your case fans. But what do you guys think of this Strix implementation here? Is it something that you would buy? Let me know in the comments box below and also the top right corner. And so that pretty much concludes our video today, guys. For more benchmarks on this card against other cards and that manual overclock, of course, head on over to the link in the description and on the screen. Help us out by liking this video and also sharing it with anyone that might find it useful. And of course, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Take care, and I'll see you guys next time.